Sports and money, they've always gone together.
But never before have sports been such a massively influential and lucrative industry.
Athletes building empires, billionaires buying teams, all of them looking for what's next.
The first stop on our tour to find out what's next in sports was obvious.
A once unheard of sport for many is really picking up speed across the U.S.
A combination of tennis, ping pong, and racquetball.
Pickleball.
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 Pickleball is life.
And I'm obsessed with it.
You've probably heard of pickleball by now because it's simply inescapable. From the trademark sound of the game to your friend who just can't stop talking about how much they love it.
A game once played almost exclusively in retirement villages has exploded in popularity across almost every demographic.
It's America's fastest growing participant sport. One estimate from the Pickleball Association said about 37 million people in the US, the equivalent of 14% of Americans, played the sport between 2021 and 2022.
Now, pickleball is going pro, with the help of a former Goldman Sachs partner, and has one league for team competition, Major League Pickleball. The newly minted league has seen millions pour in from influencers, Grand Slam winners, and future Hall of Famers. With record growth and so much hype around the sport, pickleball is no doubt a juggernaut.
And now comes the next step and the big inevitable questions. Can pickleball follow the likes of fellow country club sports like tennis and golf and build on its grassroots popularity to become a sport people both love to play and love to watch? I'm Jason Kelly, a business journalist and sports fan with a couple decades covering Wall Street.
I'm Vanessa Perdomo, a former Division I college athlete and a journalist honing in on the industry I grew up playing in.
So when you warm up, usually you start like at the kitchen line.
Okay.
So we can just start off and we'll dink a little bit.
Oh.
This is Annalee Waters. She's ranked as the #1 female pickleball pro in the world and was first pick in the MLP draft. And she's barely old enough to hold a driver's license.
You started pro at 12. Now you're only a couple years after you're 15
I
years
turned
old.
16 tomorrow.
Oh my God, happy birthday.
Thank
That's
you.
She and her mom, Lee Waters, are some of the best known names in pickleball, having played professionally as doubles partners.
How's it been playing like with your mom as your doubles partner that whole time?
It's so cool because you don't think about growing up that you could play a professional sport with your parent. And
most people can't, right?
I know, it's really cool. I think in basketball maybe it's happened once, but this is the only sport where like I was so young that I could get to play with her. So it's just been amazing. And you know, we've won a lot too. We were at #1 last year. So not only were we competing in pro, but we were also at the top.
We won mixed doubles juniors, me and William, and I won singles 4-5 and I won women's 4-5.
So tell me about that moment when Annalee comes to you and your husband and says, I'm all in pickleball.
We were big believers in do what you love. And we saw that pickleball was on the up. And I think she saw that and she was starting to have some success and she was willing to take the gamble.
And so tell me about the scene at that point. You're going tournament to tournament. What's the infrastructure like then?
So in the beginning, people were live streaming the tournaments like on their cell phones. They were at parks, you know, where they taped the lines, not permanent pickleball courts. In the last 2 years especially, we went from these little small tournaments at parks with temporary courts to now playing in these massive grand facilities with media and the best of the best. And yeah, the landscape totally changed.
Pickleball's popularity brought with it confusion and conflict on the professional circuit as a flurry of competing leagues, USAP, PPA, and MLP, ran the risk of becoming an alphabet soup with no core product to offer sponsors, investors, and broadcasters. This year, big name backers have joined forces to offer 2 major circuits. MLP, the team event with big money prizes and a string of A-list investors, and the PPA, which is considered the true tour, where pros play to get their individual or doubles rankings. But this year, 2023, really feels like this moment where the stakes get a little bit higher.
Absolutely. And it used to be, you had to be the top player to make money. And it's not really that way anymore because the sport is just blowing up. And so many of the players have so much to offer. You don't have to be number one to have something to offer to a company. It's definitely becoming a great career for a lot of people.
I got a point! Or I don't know, did I get a point because you were serving?
No, you can only win a point on your serve.
I didn't get a point, but I stopped it.
At this point, it's probably helpful we go over the rules. While gameplay varies slightly in singles and doubles, there are 5 important things to know to get started. 1. Play must occur in between the outlined court, which is 44 feet long and 20 feet wide, inclusive of lines. 2. The ball must bounce at least once on each side of the court, for both the serve and the return of the serve. Once this has happened, either side can play the ball in the air or let it bounce. 3. You must serve it from the baseline, which is the back line of the court. 4. Serves cannot land in the no volley zone, also known as the kitchen, the line box located 7 feet off the net. As suggested by the name, a player cannot hit or enter the kitchen before the ball is bounced. 5. A traditional pickleball game ends when one person or team reaches 11 points. However, the winner has to win by at least 2 points. So many pro and doubles games are extended to first of 21.
Invented in 1965 on Washington State's Bainbridge Island, pickleball evolved from handmade equipment and simple rules to America's most talked about new game. Why? Well, it could be because the barrier to entry is pretty low. It's inexpensive, easy to learn the basics, and generally very social.
Oh heavens, that doesn't count.
For decades, the sports demographic was mostly age 55 and up, but in recent years that has changed dramatically. In 2021, player growth was the fastest among those under 24 years of age, and those within the sport point to one major event to explain it.
A pandemic pastime is picking up steam. Pickleball is taking off in Northern California. The paddleball sport has been around since the 1960s, and the pandemic has given the sport a real boost.
My mom has recently become a pickleball mom. That is so cute.
Between 2019 and 2021, against the backdrop of the pandemic, casual pickleball players, also known as picklers, increased by nearly 40%, partly because of the ease of getting started.
All right, we're gonna figure out how to convert this tennis court into a pickleball court. We have these things.
We have the racket.
Can you Google convert tennis court to pickleball court?
Let's look that up.
All right.
How to play pickleball on a tennis court. Okay.
All right.
We need the net. We need the net. So it looks like the baseline is right outside the first white line.
At a time when parents were looking for ways to entertain their kids and fitness junkies search for an alternative to the gym, pickleball offered a perfect solution.
Oh boy.
Is this where it gets lost?
Yeah, this is where I get very confused.
Temporary courts marked out in driveways, and the popping of wiffle ball sounds against paddles became commonplace across America.
Oh, I need one more over here. All right, let's play pickleball.
Let's play pickleball.
We did it.
You did it.
With life back to normal for many, pickleball's takeover is becoming more formalized. Tennis courts are being converted at a phenomenal rate, with entire clubs switching over to pickleball. One tennis court can become 4 pickleball courts in most cases, and now there are more than 38,000 indoor and outdoor pickleball courts in the United States. With the social side of the sport seemingly taken care of, professional pickleball seemed primed for the taking. Enter Wall Street, or at least a guy who used to work at the most storied Wall Street firm.
Watching the best players in the world compete.
Right.
I'm extraordinarily bullish on it. I believe fervently that it's an extraordinarily exciting product, and I know the growth of playing the sport of pickleball can't be stopped.
Brian Levine, a former partner at Goldman Sachs, fell in love with the sport during the pandemic. Just before that, he'd retired from a 25-year career that culminated as co-head of Global Equities Trading and Execution Services. An expert in risk, reward, and opportunities, he saw huge potential in the pro pickleball game.
So I have to ask you, and this is the Bloomberg in me coming out, you are part of arguably one of the most influential sort of alumni networks in business and finance and investing. I'm sure you talk to, current and former Goldman people all the time. When you tell them you're the CEO of Major League Pickleball, are they like, I'm sorry, what? Like, what are those conversations like?
Yeah, no, it's pretty funny. The ones that know me actually probably are least surprised. Several people have said that that's pretty much what was designed for you even before I knew what pickleball was.
Levine now finds himself as interim CEO of the MLP. It's the sport's answer to the Davis Cup or World Team Tennis. The MLP's team format will travel across the U.S. in 2023, including to California, Georgia, and Florida, with record prize money for the pros.
You're building something literally from the ground up in terms of professional league. What's the process of doing that, of actually building the infrastructure for a brand new league?
We're all just figuring this out in real time. How do we optimize the opportunity and expand the game, introduce the sport, both at the national level and in the local markets as well. This is a new sport, and we're just creating a brand new category. It's just about converting players into fans. It has all those characteristics that it's going to take off as a spectator sport, as a pro sport, but you don't know that. And there aren't a lot of parallels for sports going from nothing to 37 million players, right? We have to deliver on that. So there's that pressure of making sure that, we are doing all the right things in terms of marketing, but, with our owners, optimizing that opportunity.
Yeah. The MLP has attracted some of the most recognizable names in sports. The league's original 12 teams increased to 16 ahead of the launch as excitement and investments continued to flood in.
So there's that pressure of making sure that, we are doing all the right things in terms of marketing, but with our owners, optimizing that opportunity, right? Like, just to give you an example, when Tom Brady made a captivating video about why he feels passionate about pickleball, that literally doubled our followers in one day. Doubled it.
Fastest growing sport in America right now. I'm a smart man, I'm a smart businessman, and it's very smart.
When LeBron James announced that he was buying the New York Hustlers team, right? That literally had over 1 billion impressions just that first day. That suddenly these people are introduced to pickleball for the first time. And so, you get that opportunity, but you've got to close on that opportunity, right? Because that could be fleeting.
American football legends Larry Fitzgerald and Drew Brees are just two of those well-known investors who take investing in the sport as seriously as they take playing it, as we found out.
Good luck.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, Jason.
All right, JP. All right, partner.
Let's do it.
You ready?
Yeah, so there's nothing big about this, just
casual game with friends, that's all.
Casual game with friends.
No, it doesn't matter who wins or loses.
No,
it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
We're not competitive. Don't worry
Because that's
about
how you guys played your careers, right? It's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Hey, we're on a roll. 4-7.
Yes! Got it. Oh, God.
Hey, he putting his stank on you.
He puts
You
a
better be ready
huge
for this
amount on
spin
that
now.
ball.
He putting his stank on you.
Oh, my
I'm not
God.
messing around. Drew, I gotta see you, Drew.
You're my partner anytime. Anytime.
So tell us about getting into it from player to owner. What was that moment?
And I've been more intentional in doing things that I really, really enjoy myself, right? This is something that I participate in, I'm involved in, I bring people to it. And so getting involved from a business perspective, being a part of an ownership group was something that was very natural and an easy transition for me. And you saw Drew, he's a talented player. So it's easy for him to want to be a part of Mad Drops and the growth of the league. And so that was like a no-brainer for me.
We got 2 points.
The names that are now involved, you talk about LeBron and KD and you and Drew, how much of an impact do you think that has?
It's very important. People, kids are, easily influenced, right? And, they want to do what the people they look up to are doing, right? And so if they're doing great, fun activities that get kids out of the house, not playing video games, get them active, getting them doing things that are good for their health, getting them to socialize with people, because it's not like text messages and looking at, IG, like, here, you got to talk, you got to say out your scores, you got to learn the person's name that you're playing with. Like, you start to build a real connection, just like we built this in a matter of 30 minutes.
How do you see pickleball growing?
Well, I think it's going to continue to grow exponentially. I mean, you see so many tennis courts being transitioned to pickleball courts, and I think it's only going to get more popular. You look at Chicken and Pickle, and you look at Pickleball Kingdom here locally. I mean, you see so many different businesses popping up that are catering to the needs of so many people that are coming to the game. So I don't see I see no stopping.
Can you name for me as many as your favorite pickleball terms as you can?
Pickleball terms?
Yeah.
Dink, drop, drive.
Pickle.
Kitchen.
The kitchen. That's a good one.
Drive, drop, smash. Those are probably the 3 favorites right there.
Dinking, yeah. And then there's the drop shot.
Why do you love pickleball so much?
I got into pickleball, actually my mom took me to her senior center and I learned about pickleball there, and then it turned into more of a competitive thing. Started playing with better players and enjoying it a ton, and realized how great it is for everyone. I can play with my wife and with her friends and with a drink, or I can play very competitively and get a real workout and get better at it.
Pickleball's low barrier to entry, you literally can pick up the basics and start playing in a few minutes, has been its greatest strength in attracting a huge number of players. But that ease of use could oddly be something that actually hampers it as a pro sport, at least when it comes to drawing big audiences on TV.
If you want to really crack the code on pickleball's success, the amateurs who love playing the game need to feel like watching the game makes them better, or makes them at least understand those personalities better, and they get associated with one of those athletes. They follow them, they're really passionate about them, they can't miss watching them play the next match. Those are the things that I think come from greater investment in the production, greater data capture and overlays, and a much stronger social media strategy to keep those fans engaged at the amateur level, to really prop up the pro game.
Josh Walker is the co-founder of Sports Innovation Lab, a Boston-based company that analyzes who's watching what, when, where, and for how long. His company coined the term fluid fan to help explain how we are consuming sports both established and nascent in lots of different ways.
A pathway to economic viability really does have to really start with the fan interest. And I think that the social media channels today allow that to happen much more economically. You get the viral sharing of a highlight, or some athlete starts to make a personality out of themselves and drive interest in the sport. Those are the things that everybody who's starting a new business wants to have happen. They want something that happened on the field or on the pitch to kind of catch that imagination and get people excited, and then for it to go viral.
Pickleball has a string of viral moments to boast of, but those have come almost exclusively from its high-profile endorsers. To gain a reputation in and of itself, Pickleball will need to find ways to outshine the celebrity hype.
Despite the fact that, Kevin Durant, LeBron, and all these people are investing, is that actually driving interest in the sport to watch on television? No. But is it getting headlines for the pros? Is it making more young kids aware that this thing exists? Absolutely. So I think that that's the piece that the pro infrastructure for pickleball is starting to address, which is give those young players something to look forward to or aspire to. And that will make its way into junior varsity and varsity programs. It'll make its way into more professional amateur tournaments. I think it only can have a good effect on the game.
Owning a sports franchise is all the rage with A-listers right now. And while the checks to buy a pickleball franchise are substantially smaller than, say, the Denver Broncos or Phoenix Suns, these owners still need a legitimate business case to invest.
There's so much excitement around this sport, for your team, for the league. What are the 1 or 2 things that really need to happen for this to be a sustainable business?
We need 2-3 stars and awareness. Right now, the stars are the owners, which is why it's already off and going. The star power is hit.
Yeah.
We're getting good social media traction. We'll need more broad awareness, but I'll tell you what this sport has. We have millions and millions of people a year, millions of people a month starting to play this sport. Pickleball courts are being built across this country, and it's 8 to 88. And it's not American football. This is not basketball where at 47 you're tearing knees like I am. This is a sport a lot of people play and participate in. Now it's just about actually building the league, and over the next 10 years, we'll do that.
You've invested in a lot of different things. To go from a participant sport, which is fun, to an actual professional league and business, I would imagine you have questions along the way about that. So what's the process through which you would assess something like this?
I knew a couple things. I knew that Super Bowl I did not sell out its tickets. I knew that the 1982 NBA Finals, game 2 or 3, Lakers, Sixers, was not even aired live.
Right, tape delay.
And so, you know, UFC, I remember watching the first one with my buddies in college and be like, what is this? So, you know, I'm of the age and of the interest to know that it's always gonna be confusing at first. Big things are not always obvious. Of course, there's a million questions. There continues to be a million questions. There's leagues that are being thought of and built every day.
Right.
Most leagues don't even get this far, so I'm very excited about where we are so far.
Vaynerchuk's team, the Jersey Fives, pays homage to his favorite number, as well as his NFT project called VFriends. The logo for the team actually features one of those characters, the competitive clown. The star player for Vaynerchuk's team in early 2023, styled in that proudly self-promotional team branding, was Annalee Waters.
Hey, nice to meet you here. Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, so we've had a chance to spend a little time with Annalee Waters, #1 draft pick. She's your top player. Tell me about...
She is the top player.
Okay.
Let there be no confusion.
Right.
You know, I think she's the best pickleball player in the world, net. And, you know, you got to spend a little time with her. So, first of all, you got to spend a little time with her mom as well. So it's in the DNA, it's in the pedigree. She's just a wonderful human being. And as this sport continues to gain traction, when Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon or Good Morning America are gonna do like an open segment on a half a court, like they do for 5 minutes for entertainment purposes, she's gonna be the face that does that.
Unlike in more established sports where top players are able to focus solely on playing their game at the highest level, here, the world's best players need to be ambassadors for the game as well, even if they're just turning 16.
Something that happened at the last tournament is I played first round in pro, I played a 13-year-old. And she's like, I grew up watching you, like I want to be you when I'm older. And I thought it was going to be a long time until I was seeing things like that happen, but it actually happened really fast and I got to play her and it was a really cool experience.
We need to grow the sport internationally because that's going to be the growth. You know, traveling like tennis where we have stops in Europe and Asia, that's when the sport's really going to blow up.
Beyond the big questions surrounding pickleball's professional future, we agree on this. It's pretty fun to play. Witness us begging our crew for just one more game after a long filming day. It's a bit addictive, but that only gets you so far. The national audience tuning in for matches week to week, global domination, the Olympics, these are still open questions. But one thing is certainly clear. Right now, across America, pickleball is having a moment.